Hello. I should say Instagram, but it's not Instagram. Anyway, this is me, T, from the Patterson's taking the train to Tibet. I'm at one of my favorite places. Look, chocolate. I should have had my dog hot chocolate to add to it, but let's start this hot chocolate. Anyway, now I gotta give you a full thing of what happened, a little trip. Because, Instagram took away my long form, my live, so I can't do it there anymore. I have to figure out something else. How long is the reels? Anyway, that's not the point. So here on YouTube, I go back to the essence of when I first started, which really was about archiving my, it's like an audio memoir. So that's what I'm doing. Now I'm going back to doing it on YouTube again. I'm straight on YouTube, I should say. Like before I used to do it, I would put the long form on Instagram and then change it over to YouTube, and then other people will put it. So don't worry about it either. So here's what happened. So I'm not too bright. Anyway, I was going to Ethiopia specifically for the reparations thing that CARICOM and African Union was putting together. So I went up there, popped on up there, had a little back and forth got to Ethiopia. And they even had a problem, even getting in the country is kind of strange. That's only because the language thing, they're in a different whatever. They speak English, but it's like, Anyway, so turns out I just couldn't get into the AU CARICOM reparations thing. It's all right. So I said, well, I'm here for 4 days, 5 days, whatever it was. And I said, what am I going to do? But Ian's friend put the H. He's a tour kind of guy, So he gave me a really, it was to my liking. The hotel, the backpackers, whatever. You had a hotel. I was at guest house. I was at Barrow Guest House, B-A-R-O. It was really, it's like my kind of place. It wasn't high class. It wasn't really, a lot of backpackers coming in. The room was all right. You know what I mean? They had these little. Let me tell you what happened in the room. But they had two beds. I always put my clothes on one bed, whatever it is. But the bathroom, the floor had some leaking, whatever it is on the floor. It's not it's water on the floor of the bathroom. Not a lot, but some there. And so, in fact, when I was in another room, and then they gave me this room downstairs. So I guess they had the problem with this room, but upstairs. Anyway, so I came downstairs to this room, and they had some slippers, some slippers. What do you call them? Slippers, plastic things. Not plastic. You know what I'm talking about. Like thongs, like clogs, like thong, whatever you call them. And I asked him, what is this for? And he didn't look at me, whatever. Then I realized you wear that in the room, you see? So I got over that hurdle. Anyway, so I went all the way there and then couldn't get into the conference. And the altitude is really high. I have a problem with the altitude. I do have a problem with the altitude, even though I do plan to go back, but I have a problem with the altitude. So I'm not really a tourist kind of person. You know what I mean? I'm not really into touring. By the way, we had Molly's coffee shop, Molly's, and named after Bob Marley, of course. But it's one of my places I always stop in Cape Town. Very few places now I stop in Cape Town, and I always get kind of. It's almost like a community house too, because people come in, they play music and stuff like that. Anyway, back to the point. So I said, oh man. So I said, okay, let me just check it out. So then it turned out I was trying to get some airtime. With that airtime was kind of strange too. And so this guy that was staying in the place, he started to help me because he could speak English very good. Actually, he's what's that country that he's Yemenis and something else mixed, And he's actually an American citizen because his father was a diplomat, or his father was involved somehow. He was actually born in the United States, so he has American citizenship. Anyway, so we started talking, and it's weird, but let me say this: when you travel, you always, when you move, I believe you always meet your tribe or your clan, whatever you want to call it. At least I'm sorry, I meet my tribe, my peoples. Wherever I'm in the world, I will meet my peoples. If I'm in some place, It may be right away, it might be take a while, but I always meet my peoples. That's what my circles is very small because there's not many people that understand me, you know. Oh, here, look at that. And here in Mali's, I found a Fanan button. So I got a Fanan button. Remember I got the Commander Ibrahim button from this shop too. Well, I got the Fanan button. I always thought the Fanan would be more of a celebrity, more of a poster child. You know, like Shay, put Shay up there, but Fanan is the man, the legend. So we got to talking all kinds of stuff. But when I realized when I was going to Ethiopia, I said two things. One thing I said out loud, I want to do the reparation conference. And then I'm at a point, not in my life, but I'm at a point where because of what I'm doing in Zimbabwe and stuff like that, a lot of other, I'll say pressure, a lot of other stuff happening. I'm at a point where I do have to sort of make money. I do have to make money for some projects that I have to do. So one of the things I said, when I go to Ethiopia, there's some before I left, I said, something tells me that I have to make money. And when I say make money, Ethiopia is going to give me a chance to make money. That's all I'm trying. That's what in the back of my head. I never said this. If I just said it, I tell them not to bully everything. So I probably told it to him. So he's a perfumer, really good perfumer, and his stuff is good. And everybody wants to these days. Anyway. The point is, he's given me a way to bring back to Zimbabwe and work with my people that we can actually put out a line of fragrances and stuff like that to make money off of it. And so we also have to get somebody that really knows the internet and business and stuff like that, so we can actually, go online, sell the stuff online, and whatever it is. So we'll see what happens. But I'm very happy with that. And this guy, let's call him Amen. Let's call him Amen, okay? So, Brother Amen. Amenal. Brother Amenal. Like I said, I think it's very interesting. I very rarely hook up with people. I talk to a lot of people, but to tend to be on my same vibe, not my same vibe, for them to understand me, when I say the way I think, the way it's difficult. Most people, to tell you the truth, I think that most people think I'm like nuts, right? I have this thing. Well, I said people don't listen to me, right? Which is probably one of the reasons that I basically like to write. Then I realized, especially with him, because I'm older now, so some people do listen to me just because I'm older, you know. And but it's I think that people don't. I believe that people don't listen to me, but when I say, that's why I put these things like this, that sooner or later they'll have to come back and say, oh, and then I'll understand what I'm saying. But more importantly, I have to do. That's why I'm saying this next thing with this money-making scheme, if you will, this capital. I have to push it off to other people because I'm not a money person. Anyway, this money-making scheme is going to be a way that we can support the house and all the stuff that we're doing down there. And I can remove myself. I can remain myself. In fact, then a little bit of money I get instead of me pushing it out. So because I don't keep anything. I keep it, but it'll just go into travel again, into airfare again. So, and this brother, he know a lot. He know a lot about travel, about different things. One of the things he does, he's one of those people that rates hotels. He go there and he gives hotel ratings about the. That's one of the things I always thought that I should have did. I should have been somebody that traveled around rating, hotels and restaurants and stuff like that. Anyway, so all that happened. Let me tell you. Okay, so that's him. In the area I was in, it's a historic area. Like I said, this was part of the palace or something like that. And it got bombed out. This guest house, Bado. Right across there was a really good Ethiopian restaurant that I enjoyed. Then up right up the street is what's called Victoria Mall. It's a whole new area. They built it up because the people had a few years ago. They had basically destroyed the palace and all that stuff that happened. but it's Victoria was very nice. But then there's a big movie theater. And I go, oh, I didn't go see the movie. So I kept on. One day they said, then next day I talked to them. And they said, yeah, it starts at 8 o'clock. I'm going like, okay, this is good. This means that, well, it means that I can go to 8 o'clock movie in the cinema, with real people. Okay. So I bop up there last night, yesterday, whatever it was, the day before yesterday. I bop up there 8 o'clock, and people were coming out. I said, what's good, da, 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 da. And they said, well, it's finished, no more movie. I was so confused. So I was going back, I went back. It's about this thing called Wild Cafe. I'll tell you the thing that happened. And there's a burger joint, Wild Burgers, something like that. And I hadn't eaten all day, so I said, I don't want a burger, but let me see what they have. I went in there, and they had chicken, broiled or whatever, chicken breast sandwich. So let me order that. So I ordered that, and I'm waiting at Wild Cafe. And this, the sister, well, her family, I guess it was her family, the sister, a younger woman, two younger women. Well, one's like a teenager, the other one, I guess, was whatever. And then and a boy was there. And they got their burger and they was eating. And somewhere in the eyes, I was waiting for my chicken burger. Somehow I made contact because they were sitting right next to me, right? And she had been eating on her burger, and she offered for me to take a bite from her burger. And I'm going like, So I said, well, I ordered my chicken, my sandwich is coming like that, but thank you anyway later. Here's the problem. In my head, I'm going like, am I supposed to take a bite of it? Will they be offended if I don't, That's what I was thinking. Well, anyway, so I finally go back and hook up back with a perfumer, sister. Amanal. I said, hooked up with Amanal. He said, oh, you have a different system here with time. So they say 8 o'clock. It really means Ethiopian time, or whatever the system is. It actually means 2 o'clock. So this movie, they must have had a 2 o'clock show and a 6 o'clock show, and then this was the one that, I don't know what happened. The point is, right, it's a whole different thing. And they think, actually, I look kind of local. In fact, a lot of people just call me, they say, hey, Rasta, or whatever it is. And I just think the beard thing, I had a good haircut too, so whatever. And anyway, 8 o'clock actually means 2 o'clock. Don't ask me, you all look it up. Boom. But I'm just saying that in this trip I learned a lot. In fact, let me tell you something. Where I was staying, right? It was that it used to be I think it's the king or whoever had a thing there. But then up where just up the street and around the corner, it's where like people like the person they said, Bill Clinton would be there at the big time hotel or whatever have it. But this hotel, which is right around the corner, is where they would bring their women's. Bubba and people like that would go to this particular guest house because nobody knows, it's like a secret around the corner. Oh yeah, learn a lot, from the locals. So it was really, man, I'm telling you. And then I learned a lot about the culture, and even what's going on around there. There's a whole, they think so differently. It's just so differently. This stuff that's happening in so-called, with Yemen, with Yemen and what do you call that? Whatever's happening in Iraq, Iran, whatever. I say Iraq, Iran, and the bombing of this and whatever that. That was all. I knew a little bit of enemy, but that was all explained. So what I'm trying to say is, though I didn't get the trip to where I didn't get to do the witness of reparation, then I saw something. It's just a photo op. It's like the big people talk. The little people, we no longer can influence them. When I say the big people, I mean like, academics and politicians. That's why everything we do is bogus. Off on top, just not off top of this, another side thing. One of the reasons why I don't like, I don't like the, they say the Truth and Reconciliation Committee that they had in South Africa, the whole reconcile thing, whatever it is. I don't like that because those people that were taking the testimony, if you look at them, they're all of the same, it's called a class. if I see Bishop Tutu, crying in his rings one more time, and one of the things is, well, the ANC cut that short. That whole, they're supposed to go all over the country and get testimony. They didn't. Uh, but one of the things is that they, let's put it the way, they couldn't take it. They just couldn't take the kind of testimony. Yeah, they could talk about it like the politicians, like the UN, these kind of people, or the UN, the African Union. They can talk about these things, but they don't live it because they don't come from that world. You see, and that's part of the problem. They put people on these committees and stuff like that. They don't come from that world. We can solve this easy in this modern world only by just opening up the internet. Because you got trolls, but people you can discern, who makes sense and who doesn't. Let's put it that way. So it was an educational trip. So was it worth the airfare and all that stuff? Well, knowledge is always worth something. And I think it worked for me, right? Yeah, it was an expensive haircut, but the knowledge I got and this contact to make money for my peoples, well, I think it was worth it. The money, the trip was worth it. And I'm going to India. When I come back through India, I think I'm going to come back from India. I think I'm going to try to finagle it so I can spend like maybe 5 days in Ethiopia or something like that and do the real touring or whatever, something like that. So we'll see. And things are pretty cheap, so we'll see how it works out. So that's it. I just wanted to tell you this little wisdom I learned. You learn everything you do. I don't ever think that things are wasted, so I learned. That's what I learned. Just to let you know that this is me, T from the past, the second train to bed, letting you know what I only suspect.